Leading off this time is Ann Kearney from Peristyle in New Orleans. She offers a terrine of salmon mousse encased in slices of smoked salmon. Then Bob Waggoner prepares the entree. It's a lavish plate featuring partridge, truffled grits, stuffed squash blossoms, and foie gras-filled ravioli. Finally, dessert is offered from Highlands Bar Grill in Birmingham. Owner-chef Frank Stitt is joined by dessert chef Dalesta Sims for a Blackberry Cobbler. Ann Kearney's mentors were a study in contrast. She first worked for the late John Neal, a shy artisan who was just becoming a reluctant celebrity. Then she entered Sturm and Drog with boisterous chef-entrepreneur Emeril Lagasse, who is everywhere. Chef Kearney offers a smoked salmon terrine.
We're doing a smoked salmon and choux-pic caviar terrine. And choux-pic caviar is a local Louisiana product. It is a black, small-egged caviar. We take part of our salmon, smoked salmon. We get a Norwegian slice of salmon. Very important when you're making this mousse that you puree up your salmon first into rough chop. Once you achieve a nice rough chop, you're going to slowly add your clarified butter. Very important when you add the heavy cream that you don't process it too long, because the heavy cream will break. Everything is cold, and if you add the heavy cream, you might have a nice curdled, separated product. Work it just till it's incorporated. This product is much easier to work with when it's cold again. As you can see, this is quite cold. I'm going to put it in a nice ice-lined bucket here, or a bowl. To this mousse, we're going to add some fresh chopped chives. The fresh herbs are essential. Be careful when you're adding your seasonings, salt and pepper. Smoked salmon's cured with salt, so it probably just needs a little bit to heighten the flavor. I like to add a generous amount of white pepper. And you can add lemon juice. I usually add about juice of 2 lemons. The acidity really nicely balances the flavor in any seafood dish.
The second herb added was chopped dill.
We're going to layer this in a terrine mold. This is a 5-cup terrine mold, which we've oiled and lined with plastic. You'll find that you'll have a much easier time removing your terrine from the mold if it's lined with plastic, rather than struggling, especially after you've put such an effort into making this dish. It'll come out a lot easier for you. So our remaining salmon is lining the mold. We have some for the layers in between. We're going to do alternating layers of mousse. I'm going to start with the mousse. Try and get it as even as possible, keeping in mind that the terrine is a little bit narrower at the bottom. It depends if you are serving this terrine whole on a buffet or at a cocktail party, or if you're going to slice it and put it on a platter. But the presentation, you just need to take care when you're layering the salmon in. Once you've added your caviar, or added your salmon mousse, you're going to add half of your caviar. This is fairly easy to work with. Just need to be careful not to crush your eggs too much because it will bleed. The caviar is not dyed. It is, however, very, it will bleed when its temperature changes too much. So you need to keep, again, you need to keep this very cold. It's nice evenly spread. I like to cut off this little blood line. It's not necessarily not flavorable, but it's a little bit stronger in flavor, and the color is going to show up when you're slicing your terrine. You want to cover the caviar layer with a layer of smoked salmon. It's not necessary to pack on the salmon because it is a very rich dish, as you saw from the ingredients. So this is more for visual.
The mousse, caviar, sliced salmon layers are repeated twice.
This is one of my favorite dishes to treat customers to. It goes wonderful with champagne. It's nice and rich and good for a celebration. Top it again with some salmon. Plastic wrap also helps you when it comes time to fold it all together. This will set up. It needs to sit for about safely 8 hours, 6 hours for everything to solidify so that you don't have a problem. And this is not something you really want to have sitting out for too long when it comes service time. It's extremely perishable, and you will have nothing but trouble on your hands if you let it sit out too long. So you want to top it with a lid, stick it in your walk-in or your refrigerator, and you'll have this wonderful dish. Pull it out. Plastic wrap really, really makes a difference in your life. I like to start, depending on how much you're going to use, I like to start and I cut it in the middle. Then you can wrap one half of it and reserve it for later. This is the effect that you get from the layering. Serve a nice, generous slice. The caviar will squeeze out a little bit as you slice it. If you put the sliced side up, you get a wonderful little effect there. We serve this with a little seasoned sour cream or creme fraiche, whatever your preference is. I like to season everything that goes on the plate. Something I learned a long time ago. Here's a little bit of fresh frisée. If you don't have frisée or you don't have fresh dill, pick your favorite green or your favorite garnish to accompany it. If you have a little bit of extra caviar, go ahead and garnish away with that. And if you add just a little bit of olive oil on top, it gets a nice sheen.
At the time of taping, Bob Waggoner was at the ritzy Wild Boar Restaurant in Nashville. He moved to the Charleston Grill in South Carolina, but presumably still offers his exquisite haute cuisine, forged by a decade of working in France. Here is seared partridge with ravioli. Since this is such a multi-dimensional dish and the chef is so knowledgeable about the several methods he will employ, we'll limit ourselves to two elements: preparation of the partridge and the foie gras stuffed ravioli. Only the breasts and leg quarters are used. The rest is used in making the sauce. These pieces are sautéed in duck fat.
You can use a little bit more than you regularly would, just so it helps to get all those little spots on a leg that you can't always get seared. But if you got enough fat in there, you're all right. You make sure it's obviously hot enough also, otherwise you're just going to get a boil started, and it won't brown, it won't sear, and won't keep all those wonderful juices on the inside that you want to. And this, depending on the heat that you have at home. Go ahead and throw the breasts in there too. And it's just really a small touch for the breasts. We don't want to overcook them at all. There's a lot of other things going on in the dish, so we want to make sure that doesn't overcook. And they're getting there. And obviously you can take out this bone if you'd like also, sometimes even debone it, but for the presentation you always like to have that thigh look. There we're getting some look, and you can even smell just with the duck fat what the difference it makes in the odor and what's sticking to the bottom of the pan, obviously. All that flavor is going to come off there and help out our sauce later on down the line. Now what we're going to do is pull the leg. It's obviously those we aren't going to cook to just a nice medium rare. We're going to cook those through. So we're going to go ahead and throw those in the oven. About 12 minutes. Keep an eye. You definitely want them. You want them cooked through, because obviously there's all the tendons and things like that running on the inside, and if it's undercooked, it's going to be tough to eat. It's as much as things are great undercooked. Bird leg isn't one of the best. What we're going to do is just barely sear this other side. You've got the skin to protect it on this side. On the other side, right on that meat, you don't want to go overboard. Just enough to seal it a little bit. Not enough to toughen it up and get it stringy. So we're going to pull these guys out, turn them on that underside. Pretty much from the time it's going to take us to do the rest of this, they're going to slowly, a lot of that heat's going to find its way to the center of that breast. Now what we're going to do is use this carcass, all the wings and the neck and the bones in there. We're going to go ahead and salt and pepper that a little bit. And let that brown real well. Obviously you can see now this is what you want. That's all your flavor right there. Whatever's stuck in the bottom of that pan, if you can brown it, get the skin, the bone, what little blood's still left in there, all that's going to give. But you definitely want it browned that much. You don't want to go overboard. But if you can get it to that point, you're going to have a great sauce. We're going to deglaze that with some white wine. We're going to let that reduce down. We're going to burn a little of that alcohol off.
Chicken stock is added and a slow reduction begins. The foie gras for the ravioli is diced and will be almost flash cooked in a hot pan. It will be combined with shallots and chives, then cooled.
What we're going to do is just drop this in. You can get one side. One side at least real well like that, you're okay. We didn't lose a lot of fat.
The chives and shallots are warmed.
With our chives, just enough to wilt those a tiny bit, and out those come.
The cooled mixture goes onto a sheet of pasta that has been painted with egg wash.
You want to try and seal one side, then follow around. Push that, twist it, pull it out, we have our ravioli. What we're going to do is poach that just for a couple minutes in some chicken stock that we have going here.
2 other plate items are truffled grits and squash blossoms filled with a sweetbread wild mushroom mixture. Presentation starts with the ravioli, the partridge leg quarters, baby vegetables, and the truffled grits. The breasts were cut in half and warmed in the sauce.
Just layer them. Bring our sauce up to a nice hot temperature. And if you're really lucky, these guys will hold together. And it's just a juice. We're not going to fill the bottom of the plate. Just going to drizzle a little bit of everything. That's all we need. We can obviously send the sauce out on the side if someone would like some more, but I work more with the concentrated, shortcut sauces, lots of flavor rather than a lot of sauce.
Although Frank Stitt spent time studying in Europe with the likes of Richard Olney, Simca Beck, and Stephen Spurrier, the menu at Highlands Bar Grill often reflects his Alabama roots. A good example of this is Blackberry Cobbler with creme anglaise perfumed with honeysuckle.
So for the Blackberry Cobbler with the honeysuckle creme anglaise, first we're going to macerate the blackberries with a little bit of sugar. It depends, the sugar can vary depending on how sweet or how tart the blackberries are. So go ahead and taste one. These are really juicy and sweet. So we don't need too much sugar, so this is just the right amount. Great. A tablespoon of flour. And so as the juices of the blackberries release, the flour will help make just a little bit of a thicker sauce inside the cobbler. I think so. Yeah, I do a little. We're going to put a little bit, and let's take some, and we're going to chop some up a little bit smaller. One of the things that we're doing at Highlands and at Bottega is that we're doing, a little bit more, maybe dramatic or elegant presentations with our desserts. And so instead of making a large whole cobbler that we would just spoon out, what we're going to do today is, and what we're doing now, is making an individual cobbler. Honeysuckles, you always come out in Alabama right at the end of April, the 1st of May. They bloom for a long time, but right now is when they're probably their sweetest. So dal has a traditional pastry crust, butter, flour, pinch of salt, sugar, ice water that we've allowed to rest for, a couple of hours in the cooler. She's rolling it out. You're going to put it in an individual removable bottle, fluted tart shell. And just loosely and gently putting the pastry in the tart pan and just pressing fairly gently with her thumbs. We're going to cut these into maybe about a 1/4-inch strips. And if you can work in a cool kitchen or on a cool counter, of course that's great. But since we're just doing this one, we won't have any trouble with our pastry heating up. Laying down 3 strips, and then we're going to weave in like a basket the pastry strips. And just simply pressing along the edges to cut off the excess pastry. Just a light egg whites, just whipped with just a little bit of water.
Bake in the middle of the oven for 10 minutes at 450 degrees. Then lower the heat to 425 and bake 35 minutes more.
And then just drizzle a little bit of granulated sugar, and we're ready to go. So we've made a traditional creme anglaise. However, we've just taken a little slightly different spin on that, and we've infused it with some honeysuckle branches, as well as the vanilla beans, which you see the specks. So our warmed blackberry cobbler has just come out of the oven. And we're going to garnish with a branch of honeysuckle. And that's it.